Okay, let's dive into one of the biggest questions there is, a question that really shapes everything we believe about reality. Who exactly is God? A lot of us have our own ideas about God, but what's interesting is that the source material for this explainer suggests the real issue a lot of the time is just a simple case of mistaken identity.
So often, it's not that people are emotionally pushing back against God, it's that they're pushing back against a version of God that isn't accurate in the first place. And when we get that fundamental definition wrong, well, it kind of throws everything else off.
So, our little investigation here starts with a really ancient story. It's about a man who definitely feels a divine presence, but he has no idea who he's actually dealing with.
I want you to picture this for a second. Jacob is on the run, he's scared, he's all alone out in the middle of nowhere, and then he has this unbelievable vision. And his first reaction? It's just pure awe. He knows, without a doubt, that he's stumbled onto holy ground.
But here's the fascinating part. He doesn't just pledge allegiance right away. No, he starts negotiating. He makes a deal. He says, if God protects me, if God provides for me, then I'll serve him. And that little if reveals a huge distinction.
And this gets right to the heart of it. Jacob felt a presence, right? And that made him feel awe. But he didn't know God's identity yet. And it's knowing who someone is that actually leads to trust and obedience. See the difference? Feeling something powerful is one thing. Knowing the identity of that power is something else entirely.
So, to really understand who God is, the sources tell us we first have to be clear about who God is not. We've got to do a little detective work and eliminate some suspects from the lineup.
The scriptures are really sharp on this point. They lay out three distinct categories. First, you've got idols. These are just lifeless objects, statues, things that can't do anything. Then you have gods with a lowercase g. These are described as real spiritual beings, but they're limited. They might have some influence, sure, but they can't create anything. And then there's God with a capital G. Not just another powerful being, but the very source of all being.
Okay, now we're getting to the climax of our investigation. This is the big reveal, the moment at the burning bush where identity is finally made clear. Moses asks what might just be the most important question in the history of theology. He's not just asking for a label. He's really asking, who are you? What is your actual essential nature? What is your identity? And the answer he gets, it's just profound. It's not a title like the Creator or a description like the All-Powerful. It's a statement of pure existence. This defines God not by what he does, but by the simple, staggering fact that he is. So here's the crucial point, the main takeaway. God isn't just one being among many, not even the biggest or most powerful one. In this classical view, God is the very ground of all existence. He doesn't just happen to exist, his very nature is to exist. Everything else, you, me, the stars, we all just borrow our existence from him.
Now, fast forward hundreds of years, and this idea, which sounds kind of abstract, becomes incredibly concrete.
When Jesus says this, the people listening knew exactly what he was claiming. He wasn't just saying he was really old. He was using the divine name, the I Am, revealed to Moses. He was identifying himself with God. That's why they immediately picked up stones to kill him.
And this is where it all comes together. The claim is that the very source of all existence, being itself, actually entered into creation and became a human being.
All right, so we've covered some pretty deep stuff, but why does any of this really matter? Let's bring it all home. Why is this whole distinction between being and doing so incredibly important?
Well, here's the danger. If we start defining God only by what we get from him, if it works for me, if it makes me feel good, we start to fall into the exact same logic as idolatry. We end up valuing the gift more than the giver, the function over the identity.
And this brings us to the final principle from our source material. Understanding who God is has to come before understanding what God does. Identity always comes before action. So that leaves us with one last question to think about. If this is our foundation, that God is being itself, how does that change everything else we thought we knew?